I walked out of the slammer after my 7th stretch. Apart from a couple of missing teeth, some lost buddies, and part of my soul, everything else was intact. Prison had worn me down to the bone, to the foam in my brain, but the criminal code sits in my heart tighter than rebar in concrete. But on the outside, nothing but bullshit. Jobs scarce as conscience in a dirty cop. Money like hope in a sucker. 3rd day wandering around aimlessly when gray and red flagged me down. Come to the playground, we got business to discuss. The playground officially for kids. Actually a spot for childless despair. Swings rusty, slide pissed on, bench covered in cigarette butts and spit. We sit, smoke, like old dogs who gave up on barking long ago. Gray cracks open a beer, foam hisses on the asphalt. So what's up, Nick? How was the pen? The punks didn't give you trouble? Fuck him, I say, dragging on an unfiltered cigarette. Mostly decent guys inside. One asshole did show up, beat the crap out of him. He was snitching like crazy. Red laughs, snot glistening on his lip. Remember Tony? School rat, complete scumbag. Now they say he's slaving away at the factory. Loser, I spit to the side. Better to rot behind bars than die on an assembly line. Exactly, Gray nods. Works for suckers. We're free men. And then he says, like it's no big deal. Listen, Nick. Got a job. Found a bunker, military. Old, but looks untouched. They say there's loot stashed there. You in? I look at them sideways. In their eyes, not a job, but a setup. What about you too? Not like you're idiots or anything? Gray and Red exchange glances. Gray rubs his hands like he's cold. Come on, bro. It's just that you're fresh. Just got out. You need it more right now. And then everything became clear. They decided to throw me in as cannon fodder. Like a probe into a graveyard. They stay on lookout, I go underground. Well, fuck it. Nothing to eat, stomach empty, head foggy. Maybe we'll find something. Or maybe something will find us. Alright, I say. Lead the way, you bastards. We reached this bunker at dawn. Old military base on the city outskirts, long abandoned. Iron door in the ground, rusty like a sick old man's teeth. Come on, Nick, Gray pushed me. We'll wait here. I went down into that hole alone. Steps slippery from moisture, smells like mold and something chemical. Concrete walls, wet, like they're sweating from fear. Long corridor, dim light flickering at the end. Reached the last room. Metal containers standing there, military ones. Most empty, looted long ago. But one in the corner, the farthest one, intact. Lock on it was fancy, electronic, but the battery died long ago. Pried it open with a crowbar. I opened the lid, and there, hell knows what. A sphere lying there, size of a melon. Black, but something glowing inside, like it's alive. Pulsing like a heartbeat. I look at it, and it seems to look back at me. Fuck this, I think, but my hands already reached out by themselves. Touched this thing with my fingers, and immediately got hit like by electricity. White flash in my eyes, head split open. Fell down and blacked out. How long I lay there, don't know. Who am I? What am I? Where am I? Head's messed up, like with a hangover. Barely found the exit. And only because someone outside was yelling, calling for some Nick. As it turned out later, Nick, that was me. I come up. Two guys standing there, looking at me scared and yelling something. So what's down there, Nick? What did you find? I look at them and see right through them. Their fears, their weaknesses, their desires. And suddenly memory came back to me. Remembered everything. I walk closer to Gray. Listen, how long have we known each other? About 15 years now. He's surprised. Why you asking? I put my hand on his shoulder, look straight in his eyes. At this moment I feel something flowing from me to him. Like invisible threads wrapping around his consciousness. You know, Sergey, there's one wisdom. Friendship is the only cement that will forever hold the world together. I pronounce slowly, deliberately, like an ancient incantation. We've always been friends. Real friends. Gray nods, but something changes in his eyes. Becomes more submissive, his gaze turns empty. Of course, Nick. You know that. We're real friends. Red looks at us suspiciously. What are you two whispering about? And anyway, Nick, is that really you? You're talking kinda, not like us. I approach him too. He backs away. Nah, bro, something about you I don't like. I'm outta here. Edward. I call him by name. Wait. He flinches, turns around, and I put my hand on his shoulder, look straight in his eyes. He resists more than Gray, but I speak quietly and convincingly. True strength isn't in defeating others, but in defeating yourself. You're a strong man, Red. Always have been. But real strength is in unity. After a few seconds his face relaxes, resistance disappears. It's all good, I add. We're a team. Always have been a team. Yeah, a team, he agrees, but his voice is now somehow empty, detached. Gray looks at me with admiration. Nick, what the hell did you find down there? You're like, different. Smart somehow. Maybe, I smirk. Or maybe I just understood something important about life. Knowledge is power, but only when you know how to use it. Next day we meet in the same basement. Gray and Red look at me like I'm a god. It's a strange feeling, power over someone else's mind. Listen, I tell them, let's get into some serious business. First we need money. Rob a bank? Gray perks up. No, I shake my head. No crime. We'll go a different route. Do we have connections? Red scratches his head. What connections, Nick? Think. Classmates, acquaintances. Someone must have made it big. Oh, right. Gray snaps his fingers. Remember Pete Morozov? Went to school with us. Now he's a banker. Big shot. Drives a fancy car, hangs out in restaurants. Perfect, I nod. Exactly what we need. He won't come near us, Red says grimly. He's got security, attitude. We're not his kind of people. We'll become his kind of people, I answer calmly. I need a decent suit. At home, in the closet, hangs my father's suit. Black, quality, just gathering dust. Dad, while he was alive, was a local politician. Respected man, though he drank a lot. The suit fits me. Me and Dad were the same height. That evening I go to the restaurant Imperial, where, according to Gray, Pete spends his time. Expensive place, but I look decent now. Around the corner I leave Gray and Red, let them wait. Pete sits at a table with some people in suits. Didn't recognize me right away, years changed us both. He got fat, flabby, gold teeth gleaming. Success didn't make him prettier. I approach their table, smile. Peter Alexeyevich? Nikolai Dyachenko, we went to school together. He squints, remembering. Nick? Is that really you? Wow, how you've changed. Sit down, old friend. I sit next to him. His companions are discussing something about loans and interest rates. Pete pours me cognac. So tell me, how are things? I heard you were, vacationing in places not so distant. That's in the past, I answer calmly. Now I have different plans. By the way, congratulations on your success in banking. He proudly puffs out his chest. Yeah, built it from nothing. Now I run a branch. Serious money flowing through. At the right moment, when his companions are distracted by the waiter, I put my hand on his shoulder and look straight in his eyes. Peter, you know what Rothschild said? He who owns the information, owns the world. But he who owns people, owns information, I say slowly, deliberately, like I'm pronouncing an ancient spell. Pete's eyes grow dim, become submissive. Invisible threads wrap around his consciousness. You're right, Nikolai, he agrees quietly. Very wise words. I think we should cooperate, I continue in the same hypnotic tone. You have the bank, I have ideas. Together we can achieve a lot. Of course, he nods. What do you propose? Tomorrow we'll meet in your office. Discuss details. Next day, Pete opens access to the branch's bank accounts for me. Not for stealing, for managing. Now I have a financial tool. And money, as everyone knows, is power. And the first thing to do? Right. Buy a fresh suit. Gray and Red can't believe their eyes when I tell them about the success. Nick, Gray whispers, you really became some kind of wizard. How do you do this? People are always looking for someone to lead them, I answer philosophically. I just give them what they want. But actually, I thought, it's that orb from the bunker that gave me enormous power to impose my will on people. Knowledge appeared. About people, about their psychology, about how to control them. About power, about structures, about how to build hierarchies. But most importantly, I felt that I could influence other people's consciousness. Not some magic, but how to explain it, like I got a new sense organ. These two idiots were one step away from their happiness, but got scared. And I took the risk. And those who don't risk, as we know, don't drink champagne. Gotta remember to concrete over the bunker entrance, so we don't breed competitors. After meeting with the banker, I gathered Gray and Red in the new office I rented with Pete's money. Small, but decent, on the second floor of a business center. Furniture modest but solid. On the desk, business cards with my new name. When they enter, I get up from the desk and adjust my tie. Gentlemen, from today forget about Nick. There's no more Nick. There's Dyachenko Nikolai Nikolaevich, attorney. Gray stares at me. What the hell, Nick, you completely lost it. What fucking attorney? I always dreamed of becoming a lawyer, I answer calmly, pacing around the office. Remember the movie Devil's Advocate? That's exactly what I want to be. A man who can defend anyone and get any verdict. Red nervously laughs. Nick, Come on. To become a lawyer, you need to study. Graduate from university. No time to study. I wave my hand. Do we have a specialist in diplomas in our city? Yeah, Gray nods uncertainly. This guy Vasily deals with that stuff. Makes any certificate for cash. Excellent. Tomorrow you'll go to him. Tell him we need a law degree from Moscow State University. Honors degree, of course. I turn to Gray and look at him appraisingly. And you, Sergei Romanovich Korzhov, I'm putting in charge of security. Who? He doesn't understand. You're now head of security, Sergei Romanovich Korzhov. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Right, just unusual. Get used to it, you're a respectable man now. Gather the crew. We need our own crew. Just keep it quiet. We don't need extra noise. Gray, that is Sergei Romanovich, nods eagerly. Red asks pitifully, what about me? What should I do? I look at him condescendingly. Rizikov Edward Kirillovich, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. You? Help Sergei Romanovich for now. Rizikov, what's your name? Edward Kirillovich. And yes, I take out a bank card from my pocket, get some decent clothes, go to a barber or something, and get a car. Here's the card. Welcome to the big leagues. Gentlemen. Gray and Red left the office slightly stunned. How did he change so much? A month ago he was talking street slang, and now, like some aristocrat. Big leagues. Gentlemen. It's all about the bunker, Red whispers. Something he dug up there. Probably a wish grantaire. Well, really like he changed souls. I'm sitting in my office with Sergei Romanovich, sipping coffee with cognac. Through the window you can see the city park, where some workers are fussing around with saplings. Where's Red? I ask. Running around government offices somewhere, collecting signatures. For what? Wants to green the city. Plant trees. I almost choked on my coffee. Trees? With my money? Well, actually the money isn't yours. I throw him a hard look from under my brows. Sergei noticed my expression and stumbled. Actually, and he also wants to open a music school. What? I jumped up so sharply that the cup clinked. That's too much. I leaned back in my chair, studying him. And you? What would you do if you could? Sergei hesitated for a second. I'd be like you, squeezing money and business from everyone. But not so intelligently. I'd do it like in the 90s, sea of blood, mountains of corpses, city in fear. With these words he suddenly pulls out 2 pistols from under his jacket and shoots at the ceramic vase on the windowsill. It shatters to pieces. The secretary squealed behind the wall. Easy there, you psycho gangster. I growl at him. I can't keep buying vases because of you. Sergei laughs heartily, putting away the pistols. Come on. It's fun. But these schemes, that's not for me. Yeah, you haven't done time in prison yet, that's why you're not spooked like that. Next morning I go to City Hall. Petrenko Anatoly Semyonovich receives me in a spacious office overlooking the central square. Man about 60, gray-haired, with an arrogant expression. Dyachenko, you said? Looks at my business card. Attorney? What's this about? About a very delicate matter, I answer, settling into the chair across from him. Concerns your future. I don't understand. I take out a folder with documents and put it on the table. I think these papers will clarify the situation. The mayor takes the documents, starts reading. His face gradually pales. Where did you get this? Doesn't matter. What matters is what we're going to do with it. I get up, approach him and put my hand on his shoulder. Petrenko flinches but doesn't pull away. Anatoly Semyonovich, you know what Machiavelli said? A wise man should always follow the paths laid out by great men. I suggest you become one of those great men. I look straight into his eyes, and gradually his gaze becomes submissive. What do you want? He asks quietly. Cooperation. Mutually beneficial cooperation. I sit in a leather chair, looking at the city through glass panoramic, like a storefront. Below there's dust, traffic jams, suckers running around, hustling. And I'm on top. Here it doesn't smell like sweat, only money and power. And I used to lie on a rotten prison bunk, listening to the whisper of the toilet. I dreamed, not of freedom, of power. Of heads bowing when I look. Of my word being like a sledgehammer to conscience. Now I have everything. Position. Car black, mean. Office downtown, glass anthill. And those who yesterday wiped their feet on me now smile like hookers without clients. Ready to grovel, just so I don't blink wrong. I wanted to suppress will, wanted it since childhood, and now I can. Just look in the eyes, and the person is already yours. Silent, listening, waiting for orders. Like a dog without a chain, but still won't run away. Thanks to those two losers who chickened out back then at the bunker. Sat there, bleeding, like they knew we'd find not treasures there, but a crown for a new king. Interesting, what would they feel if they knew who their scout became? Who became the one they threw in first? And the bunker, by the way, should be concreted over. Fuck it. One prophet is enough for us. The rest live on their knees. Suddenly the door burst open without knocking. Gray stood in the doorway. There won't be room for two of us in one city. He was beside himself with rage, eyes burning with unhealthy fire. You don't need to be a gifted psychic to understand Gray still climbed into the bunker. Where's Red? I ask, remaining outwardly calm. Planting his little trees, the idiot, everything suits him, you see. But it doesn't suit me. Why did you suddenly become the boss, just because the orb petted you? Gray grinned predatorily, and his hand slowly reached for the holster. I understand this won't be solved intelligently. Good thing you didn't shoot up all the dishes last week. I grab a heavy crystal ashtray from the desk and throw it at Gray. At the same second, a shot rang out. Flash. Darkness. In the sandbox at the children's playground sat two bums. They drank warm beer from tin cans, smoked cheap cigarettes and cursed loudly. Damn, Nick, my head's splitting, complained one of them, rubbing his head. Mine too feels like shit, answered the second. Like a truck ran over me. Where's Red? Who knows? Disappeared somewhere. A police patrol approached them, two young sergeants in brand new uniforms. Disturbing the peace? One of them asked sternly. You're not supposed to be here, added the second and poked with his baton. It's forbidden. Can't you see how beautiful everything's become around here? The policeman pointed at fresh flower beds and young trees. This is thanks to our new mayor. And you're making a mess here. Nick and Gray looked at each other in bewilderment. "Who's our mayor?" Gray mumbled. "Don't play dumb." The sergeant barked. "Your ride's here." A police van pulled up to the playground. "To the station, gentlemen, to the station. And don't let us see you here again. City Hall is right across the street. You're ruining the whole landscape." When they were taken away, one policeman said to the other, "Strange guys. Like they don't know who our mayor is. Probably junkies." His partner waved it off. "Brains completely fried." And at this time, the new city mayor, Edward Kirillovich Rizikov, signed a decree on opening a new music school. He took a sip of tea from an expensive porcelain service, admiring the view of the blooming city park, the renovated children's playground, and the police van slowly driving away. Moral: while two fools fight, the third, the smart one, makes a fortune.